with these two goaltenders. Much to talk about with these two teams. Ranked 10th and 12th in the USCHO poll, 2nd and 3rd in Hockey East, 12th and 14th in the NPI, and set to go for the first of two this weekend. These two teams who have not played since December of 2020, 17 goals this season, which is tied for 2nd in Hockey East. Gasso forward for Oscar Hemming. Gasso gives it back in Hemming's chances stopped by Muslik.
I think if Letourneau had another opportunity, I think he'd take it to the net strong instead of settling for a shot. I think he could have faked there and gone backhand and maybe had an opportunity.
Season, their power play has been very good recently. They've been good defensively for the most part. It's just, for the most part, been a quality group ever since October.
Having played in the Beanpot and played on teams that have played in the Beanpot, it gets all your attention. The week before and after, it's a distraction because you just want to get to that Monday night.
There's Alexandre Blais in behind, tried to center up somewhere, and it works back out for Messinio on the point. His chance is blocked by Michael Higgins. And you look at the group on the ice right now. Letourneau just came on, so it's not a perfect line. But Conmey, Stiga, and Ryan Conmey, Dean Letourneau, and Teddy Stiga as the second line. That's pretty good. Sondrial, Moore, and Vogt as a third line. That's pretty good.
We saw the Finns lose to the Canadians in the Olympics because a player didn't have a responsible stick and took an unnecessary high sticking call. That's an unnecessary hooking call.
Oh, Conmey, nice play to bat it out of the air looking for Gasso, but Muslik will just settle up. You mentioned it, this top power play in Hockey East, 7th nationally for Boston College.
That was a weird drop in Boston College's favor there, but hey, no one's complaining. Good shot, again, deflection.
And a key dump in for Connecticut as they're able to change.
All 5.
Yeah. Here's Drew Fortescue, kicks at it, goes past Jan Varia. Tom Messinio has been fantastic all year long.
He's worked at his craft, he's paid his dues, and there's only one net. You know, so timing is everything.
College, 1 minute to go on the 4-on-4 in a scoreless game early from Conti. Ryan Conmey now turning up ice. Out there with Stiga and Drew Fortescue. Moving in with space, plays it over Minetti, and stick broke on the opportunity.
If they're going to meet Muslik, that's what they have to do. Royal Road, long distances to one-timers. If that stick didn't break, I think it would have been 1-0 Boston College.
Going wide against Trey Scott as the Eagles change out. On for Fortescue, his shot, rolling puck, good find by Muslik, with a couple of white sweaters crashing in the way. 8:06 remaining in the first. No score early. UConn and Boston.
These young athletes really understand that.
Joyce from the outside, that gets all the way through, and a save by Muslik.
You know, the other thing I've been impressed with Muslik is his rebound control. I mean, right before we went to break, there was a really tricky shot. He went down and got it with his glove. If he uses his pad or his stick, it creates a rebound. His free
nearly took it away from Muslik, but here come the Huskies going back the other way. DeZane broke it up. Good play by Lucas Gustafsson. And he starts it up the wall for Radivojevic. Gets a piece of it ahead for Conmey. Good effort by Muslik to swipe it to the corner.
Yeah. Sometimes I say the best save is a shot not take. BC got rewarded.
They nearly had a quick chance off a face-off like they did on their first power play attempt. That was Higgins from up top. Officially 2 shots on goal, and then the Higgins one which missed the net on that first power play chance. And here is James Higgins with Letourneau in front, and it's Gasso walking in, and his shot got deflected. Ryan Conmey tries to go get it in the corner. Tattle got there first momentarily for UConn, but it's Higgins now on it, and his shot is stopped, and it goes in! Muslik couldn't hold it! And BC gets a power play goal! Higgins will claim it after Muslik couldn't quite squeeze it. And his Hockey East leading 18th goal of the year makes it 1-0 BC.
That's a goal scorer's shot. He took a shot, he's straight up with Muslik. He shoots it in place that Muslik can't control the puck, so it's either going to generate a rebound or he's not going to be able to handle it. Up near his head, block aside, he can't find it. And goalies spin around now and then when they don't know where the puck is. And as you said, Eric, Muslik ends up putting
goals per game since November 27th. Skahan starts it forward for Resendez. Lane Samaki in good position over there for Connecticut. Now let's see if the Huskies can respond here in the first period. Shots have gone up to 11-5 in favor of Boston College. They've had the last. Heaslip got a piece. Here is Oscar Hemming working through the neutral zone. And now it's James Higgins. Plays it forward. Gasso gets it. Squirts to Radivojevic. He waits with Scott right there. Hits the trailer. And now Higgins' shot is blocked by Percival, but he got it back. Still got one all the way to the net, which Music secures.
That's what happens when you're a great player. The puck just follows you and it stays with you. Again, way goals are scored. First, a great block, but goals are scored. There's a thing called the Royal Road. Goes down the middle of the ice. The farther you can pass the puck across that Royal Road to a one-timer, percentages tonight look like they're willing to pay that price.
Gasso wins the face-off. Back for Minetti, and who hits Higgins, who scores! James Higgins with his second goal of the first period. That's 19 for the year. 2-0 Eagles.
We were just talking about the one-timer, and that's exactly what they set up there. What a great pass. It's really tough. Teams go three high, meaning they take a forward. And
out of that period, certainly.
And we were talking about that. I think we saw it the same way.
Coaches usually do.
Picks a spot.
There's a turnover right at the blue line. Jake Richard in, plays it across, and they score! Well, there's that turnover, and UConn takes advantage. Ryan Kettle with his 11th goal of the year. It's a 2-1 game.
From Mike Ayers to Bridget's lips to UConn's execution. Mike Ayers said they could be cleaner coming out of their end. Obviously ready, you got the puck under control, but you take the puck to the middle of the ice when all you need to do is just chip it out of the zone, creates a turnover, and just a well-executed 2-on-1 by UConn. Chip and go to the outside instead of the middle of the ice, which is obviously dangerous.
Big kick save by Cloutier on that chance from the outside. And it's Minetti who goes and gets it off the wall for Boston College, and Oscar Hemming forcing it out. There's so much experience on that line for UConn. Muldowney, Richard, and Tattle, and that's the group that gets the goal. UConn brought back more than anyone in hockey. They brought back 111 goals from last year. That was second most nationally. So, I mean, it's kind of unheard of in this day and age of college hockey, having 7-8 seniors on the roster, having all of that experience. And this is the time of year where it really starts to pay off.
Yeah, and there's two ways to be successful in college hockey. One is the one you just talked about, UConn's road, right? Where you have a lot of experience, a lot of people know what it takes to win at the end of the year. And then you have, obviously, a back. He looked like he was in a lot of pain.
Martag did go down the tunnel for the moment. Oh, Music came out of his net there, and then some pressure by Boston College, and Teddy Stiga on the side. Eagles play it back in deep. Squirts behind, and it's Tattle using his speed against the freshman Radivojevic. Tattle digs it out. Tattle right to the net, wraps around, and ends up going back for Messinio. Plays it in deep. Here is Blay. Centers up. Score! What a pass from Blay! And it's Caden Shahan who ties the game.
We talked about UConn playing inside of Boston College D-zone coverage, and it doesn't get, Skahan goes right to the front of the net. Great pass, quick stick. No one picks him up. Again, just a great move there by Blaze to find Skahan going to that. Again, we talked about if UConn was going to be successful. When a team is climbing up the standard, that's usually the trajectory where seniors take you and then they leave, and so you lose a lot of valuable experience and character, and then you got to come back down again, and then you have to build it back up again, but you know what it's like. And that's why I think this team's going to be very successful, because of the experience they had last year. You got to learn how to play in those games and not lose them before you learn how to win them.
That was such a team of culture that got them where they wanted to go last year. You think of Sandriel plays it back for more tough angle from Music, and he does a good job staying true with his right shoulder. You look at that Hockey's quarterfinal last year against Providence, and Shandor, who's hurt, as Percival takes it right to the net, and the net comes off. Shandor's hurt. He basically can't go. He comes on the ice for one shift, scores a key goal, then can't go the rest. I mean, it's stuff like that that was part of that run all the way to the Hockey's final and then the NCAA tournament. And again, a post away from a Frozen Four last year.
Well, they've got some unfinished business here, and I love what Percival just did. Coach Kavanaugh mentioned in between periods, we need to take the puck to the net, because that's what Percival did there. It wasn't easy. He knew he was going to get hit. He knew he was going to have to power through. He does. Goes right to the net, knocks the net off. But that's the ingredients necessary for offense right now, for both teams.
Well, Downey's shot was blocked, and then here is Richard. Playing away from Kostadinsky. Richard back for Tattle. Away from Gustafsson. Scott from the outside. Good job finding it by Cloutier.
We were talking about Boston College going low to high, okay? Now it looks like UConn's going low to high. Here's Percival taking the puck in. That's not easy. He knows he's going to get hit, but that's what you have to do. It takes a tremendous amount of courage to do that. We were talking about the price you have to pay.
It struggled a little recently, just 1 for 11 over the last 4 games. They haven't had a ton of attempts, though, and Mike Kavanaugh said that in terms of trying to find a groove with it. Scott fanned on the shot attempt, and here's maybe a shorthanded look for Boston College. Brady Berard is in, and that missed wide. Had Gasso with them momentarily. UConn did a decent job to get back in position. Here's Muldowney, tries to center up, a rolling puck. Looked like it was going to be on Eagles' stick, but then it's played around for play. Off the wall, back for Trey Scott, who quarterbacks this power play for the 2nd year in a row. And it's Richard with Will Vogt the closest to him. Now Scott once more, and Richard up top, works it down low for Joey Muldowney, who switches spots and gives it to Richard once more. 1:05 on the penalty time. Here is Scott coming around center, tries to get a shot through, it was blocked by Will Vogt. Now Ryan Tattle once again, goal scorer for UConn early in this 2nd period. Play tried to center up underneath the stick of Muldowney. Murtagh back out there after that block. Remember earlier when he had to go down the tunnel. Gardula down low. And Murtagh in his sophomore year for Jan Varia, kind of fanned on it. Eagles putting a little bit of pressure on. Sandrial rolled off his stick a bit, stays with it against Messinio, who pins him in, and Dunphy will start out. Tattle's out front if they could find him. Whitcomb coming in for UConn. Gets it over for Tattle. It's just broken up with the stick in the way.
Nice play by Moore there.
Trey Scott up top. Dunphy's chance knocked out. Finds Richard. He waits, tried to deke. Net was open on the backside, but he couldn't get a shot out of it. It's Will Moore again who makes that play. He's been excellent in his first game back for Boston College.
He's had to be.
Here's Tattle once again. UConn's getting the pucks right now here in this 2nd period that they were not in the first. Trey Scott lays it down. Minetti in first there for Boston College. Together, right, playoffstatus.com. Both teams are given better than 50% odds. UConn's even close to 70% odds to make the tournament, but you still got to go do it, right?
Yeah.
And it's by no means a lock. And that's why if you can move up and avoid some of those potential bid stealers, it could be so crucial. Here's Gardula, pulls it off the wall. His shot rebound was there. Murtagh then tried to set it up. It's still loose in front. Rolling puck back for Jan Varia. Big drive is blocked by Hemming. That puck was in a danger area for a long while. UConn still on it. Jan Varia over Messinio. Gustafsson out there with Higgins, Gasso, and Letourneau as well. Higgins down low for Andre Gasso. And up top, Gustafsson. For Conley, it was on his front foot, couldn't get a shot. Down low for Dean Letourneau. Tried to give it back. Instead, it's Gustafsson who fires, and it missed wide. UConn gets it out for the moment, but only to the red line as BC quickly brings it back in. Ryan Conmey plays it around the wall for Lucas Gustafsson. Plays it over for Higgins, who will spin and reset with Heaslip the closest to him. Over, Conmey fanned on it. Higgins got a chance again. That was really well set up by Higgins. Gustafsson for Higgins again. Now Letourneau, and a save by Muslik. Gustafsson again, 1-on-1 of the power play. Over Higgins, slaps to the middle. Got deflected up in the air. Here's the Eagles' power play that's been going right this year. Gasso for Conmee. Tried to get a deflection somewhere, hit a skate. Gustafsson over for Higgins. Passes up on a one-timer. Back for Gustafsson. He fires looking for a tip. Massinio got a piece of it. Higgins plays it back for Gustafsson. And a cross for Ryan Conmee again. 37 seconds on the penalty time. Higgins one-timer. Muslik with a save. Got his right shoulder. Letourneau once again. It's been in basically the whole time here for BC. They had to reset once, but all the same skaters. Letourneau down low, tough angle. Stopped by Muslik. Conmee once more across. Higgins scores! Higgins with his second hat trick of the year. BC 3-2.
You could see Higgins was going to score. The question was Gasso going to get it to him on the right face-off circle, or was it going to be Conmee? And what a great pass. We talked about not allowing Boston College to pass through the penalty kill. This goes dot to dot. Muslik has no chance. That is a pro shot, one-timer. The percentage of scoring on that play from dot to dot is like 90% if you can one-time that puck. And believe it or not, that goal is scored off a Conmee's pass. That is an absolute rocket.
That important piece there is, remember the game BC played last Friday at Merrimack? As Blake comes around, his shot got deflected. This felt similar to that. BC was up 2-0, gave up the next two, and that one Merrimack scored a couple, right? And they end up with a 4-2 lead and win. But this one, after BC goes from 2-0 to 2-2, they score the next one and restabilize the hockey game. Cloutier couldn't quite secure that. Zane nearly had an opportunity.
And again, we talked about UConn taking an unnecessary penalty there, which allowed Boston College to go on the power play.
Final 5 seconds of the period. Letourneau tries to center up. Was looking for Higgins. Might have been held on the way through. But in a period that started with the UConn Huskies flipping momentum with Tattle and Shahan scoring. Here's Percival, flips one to center.
UConn's not in a point right now where they have to take any chances. They can just continue to play the game and see how it unfolds. But at some point, if the score stays the same, they're going to have to start taking some chances.
BC's done a nice job managing things so far, playing with the lead in the third period. Boston College has outscored their opponents by 12 in their third period. It's their best period of the year, despite the fact it's the only period they've been outshot for the season. Here is Gasso. Tries to center up. They score! Landon Resendez! And they're going to review this for goaltender interference. The officials immediately signaled for it. It's a good goal on the ice, but they're going to take a look to see if BC indeed has a 4-2 lead or this one needs to be taken off.
You know, we were talking about Boston College playing below the goal line offensively, right? They've done a really nice job of making plays from below the goal line to the slot area.
Okay, I beg your pardon. Muslik got knocked down at the end of it. So they call no goal on the ice, and now they'll go take a look. I saw him get knocked down, so I thought it was a goaltender interference situation, but it's actually his own man that knocked him down. But the question is, did it cross the line? And is there a look that gives the answer?
I think the overhead look is going to be the best look that we have. This one right here.
That's in. That's a good goal.
After review, the call on the ice is overturned. The puck crossed the goal.
Yep. You know, that's the right way to do it, right? Get it right. They go in, didn't take very long, and BC has a 4-2 lead.
And to your point about goalie interference, it was his own.
Their, won't say biggest win when you went and won the Beanpot for the first time in 10 years, but it would be their highest ranked opponent that they've gotten a full win against for NPI purposes. Higgins leading, chance for Gustafsson to whack it out of the air. And it's off the wall, and here is some speed going back the other way. Shahan in, oh, what a move, but it hit the post and stayed out. My goodness.
What speed.
That was nifty.
And what a great move. You're absolutely right about that. But you were talking about big games. as the season winds down, every game becomes more and more important because there are less games and less opportunities to increase your profile. So yeah, this is
a run, certainly. And you said it, right? How good Cloutier's been in the third, obviously, is a big part.
Knowing how to close out periods and knowing how to close out games is so crucial.
Gasso plays it back for Hemming. Gardula came in. Centers up off the front foot of Higgins, who had his hat trick through 2 periods tonight. Gave Boston College the 3-2 lead. Gasso couldn't get it through. A couple of nice effort plays there by Mike Murtagh, staying with Gasso all the way down the ice. Higgins, 3 goals on 6 shots on goal, 2 of them on the power play, and 9 shot attempts in this game, which leads every skater by far. Letourneau's second, 3 shots on goal, 5 attempts, and 2 assists today. That's what it's been. A lot of reasons to be excited about those two down on folks at TD Garden. Here's Ryan Tattle.
The other nice adjustment Boston College has made as the game has gone on is taken away the weak side of the ice. They've had really good ice balance since we mentioned it halfway through the second period about how UConn was exploiting the weak side. Now Boston College is taking care of that weak side, basically stunting.
Oh, net's pulled, but the Eagles are on it. Teddy Stiga scores! It was right as Music cut to the bench, and Stiga adds another to make it 5-2.
Usually you do not pull your goalie until you have possession in the offensive end. Obviously, UConn was gambling the fact that they would be able to get it deep. And we talked about it. We're just talking about taking care of the weak side of the ice. Again, turnover, no established possession in the offensive end. And Boston College made them pay.
There were some moments early in the second period, but, I mean,
in a very complimentary game from forwards to defensemen, power play to penalty kill.
In fairness, remember they hit the post in there, so that obviously doesn't count as a shot on goal. But as Blais up top here, down 32 seconds remaining. Scott's pass. That was UConn's first official shot on goal in the third since the 6:59 mark. Here is Scott again, and a save by Cloutier.
BC doesn't want to give them anything, and UConn's trying to get some momentum.
Richard plays it over for Tattle. Back up Richard, works at a good save by Cloutier. Then another one sweeps across. Stiga trying to pin it to the wall. Down to 8 seconds remaining in the game. So UConn got some chances on this power play, but the Eagles pull off a massive win. There's going to be a penalty called late at the end of this. BC behind a Higgins hat trick has a 5-2 victory and some extracurriculars at the end that may add some spice to tomorrow.
Whoa. Yeah, there's definitely some bad blood.